Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this today's talk in our series, which we are organizing from time to time on a certain regular basis at Il-Ħaġar Museum. And today it is my pleasure to welcome among us Prof Arnold Cassola, a professor in Maltese and comparative literature at the University of Malta, but whose academic interests span far beyond the subjects which he teaches at the university. In fact, he has a wide-ranging interest in many things which have to do with militancia, and his research has also taken him to various archives in other countries, and particularly in Turkey, in Istanbul, where he has come across some very unique and interesting documents on which he's going to give us today's talk. It is often said that history is written by the victors, and for example, we don't know much about Carthage except what the Romans told us, and they certainly did their very best not to depict them in the best of lights. And the same happens across the board, and even our idea of the Turks, in popular thought, the Turks are not portrayed as very sympathetic fellows when they were going around and besieging various parts of Europe, including Malta. So it is always important to have a look at the other side of the picture. And I think today we have a perfect opportunity for Professor Cassola to give us this other side, from the Turkish side, of the person, the mind behind the Ottoman expansion at the height of its power, which at that time, in the 16th century, was a very serious threat to the Europe we know today. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Redis. Yes, as Dr. Redis was saying, I teach Maltese and comparative literature at the university. However, I'm interested in old manuscripts. And unfortunately, there's very little about literature in old manuscripts, or the little that we know we've already found. So I'm always curious wherever I travel abroad, and more abroad than here. There's more possibility of somebody eventually finding them up. Notarial archives, national archives, the National Library, etc. But abroad, it's not that easy. So I've been lucky in my life. I go looking for something and find the opposite, but I find something which I was never thinking of. I've found the oldest dictionary of the Maltese language in Rome, 1640. It's 150 years before Vassalli, which is a 380-page manuscript written by a knight of Malta. I found in Chicago, strangely enough, I went there for politics, for the Green presidential candidate nomination. But in the Newberry Library in Chicago, I found this 1840 book by Francesco Bella, who we did not know anything about. This is biography. We had 8 books of his in Malta. He used to live in Italy, in Livorno. They're all published in Livorno, but there is this book you can have in Malta. So that set me on this track. I went to Livorno, thought of his life, of his biography, etc., etc. I've just been, this will be the new thing this year. 2 years ago I went to Athens. I was a guest lecturer at the university there. And that's what I always say, when I go, I say, where can I go and look to see if there's anything Maltese, without knowing what to look for. And they said, well, I tried the Gennadius library. Ioannis Gennadius library. He was a diplomat who left everything. He was a big collector of everything, Greek. And this guy had spent 2 years at the Protestant College, Old College Street, what then became Jesuit College, in 1854, 1855, 1866, when he was a child. He was 13, 14. And then he was a collector, and he became a diplomat in London, etc., of everything. And he's got, when I went and saw this, I went berserk. 46 photos of Malta in 1857. I just published last week, 1st of May, an article in the Times on the find. And I put this one of the photos, which was Mosta Church, not completed. And the whole of Mosta has gone berserk. Somebody even offered me 2,000 euros for the photo. I said, look, it's a public library, I can't just sell it to you, But people wouldn't understand. But anyway, they just invite. It's the oldest known photo of Mosta, which then can prove certain theories that the builders didn't have any stairs to go up, they used to carry it. It's the things which you don't realize. And the book will be out. I will be taking care of the discovery, explaining what there is. Giovanni Bonello will be doing the photographic part. There are 11 watercolors by chance, always in Athens, in this collection, which were unknown, and that's the Isabella will be taking care of that. And there are also hundreds and hundreds of prints, as from the 16th century, concerning Malta, and William Zamit will be doing a chapter on that. The book is ready, so it's at the Malta University Press. We see when it's going to be published. And this is the same thing. Why did I go to Istanbul? It was 1990, already now nearly 30 years ago, time flies. And I read in the Italian newspapers, Corriere della Sera, that the Istanbul, the authorities, the Turkish authorities, were loosening up their strict policy of not having foreigners in their archives, and were opening up to foreigners since 1988. So I said, who knows? And Loto came into this. Because I said, who knows? I imagine a lot. I'm like a child in this. At 66, I still fantasize. Because I think you need fantasy in life, and sometimes things happen. Maybe not what you want, but things do happen. And I said, who knows if Dragut, when he came to Gozo in 1551 and took away everybody from Gozo, maybe he took away a scrap of paper with something written in Maltese on it. And it's of course I went there and found no scrap of paper in Maltese. Everything was in Turkish, which I don't know. But I started asking them. There was an old catalogue typewritten, 1923 catalogue, in modern Turkish. And so I started asking, excuse me, what is the word Malta, Maltese? So they told me, and I was looking in the catalogue, and I started finding these abstracts, which were commands by Suleyman in 1565 and 1564, before, after, and during the siege. And then, bit by bit, I told the university. Then I found this 112-page thing just in Malta register, with soldiers asking for promotion, for a raise in salary, Turkish soldiers. On the spot, every day they would go, and the formula is always the same. For example, Arnold from Slima came and stated that Joseph from Nanur was killed during the battle on San Telmo. Arnold is therefore requesting that the Timar was the land, the feudal system they had, that the Timar belonging to Joseph worth 2,400 akse, which was the coin at the time, per year, that's what they used to get out of it, what should be given to him. And then we have, at the very end, it has been decided that Arnold gets the land because Arnold behaved bravely, cutting off 2 heads of the infidels during the attack on St. Elmo. And from there, from these motivations, we have 1,000 people asking for promotions, asking for a raise in salary, asking for land. From there, you get the bits and pieces and the motivations, and you are building the story and the names and the provenance of the people that came to attack Malta. We say the Turks. We have people from Belgrade, we have people from Sofia. These are the living or the dead who died in Malta. Part of the Ottomans, Rhodes, Crete, Il-Bashan in Albania, Vlore in Albania, and then all the Anatolian part of Turkey, Konya, Antalya is more European, Bursa, well, it's full, because there were no surnames. It was always Joseph from, and you would get the town. Arnold from the town. So, there are now, it's gone around the world, it's quoted a lot. It's the only documentation existing. And that period was, very little has remained of the 1565-66, because the archives were destroyed. Whenever there was infighting, one of the first things was to burn everything. by the conquerors. So this register that has survived is something unique. A person, Darling, has written a book on the organization of the land system by the Turks based on this document, just on the document I found. So there are things which another person calculated how much trees and there were in Malta, much more than today, from the document, because they would cut the brushwood to burn it in front of when they attacked. They would burn the brushwood outside the ramparts, so the smoke would go up and they could create a smoke screen and try and climb up the ladders into Fort St. Elmo, into Fort St. Angelo, etc. So, you know, there are things which I never think of, but everybody in their own specific area, in their own specific interest, can create something. So, what have I done with this book? I've written, of course, the documentation in I have a 1995 book and a 1998 book. This book is now, I said I want to do a more readable book for normal people, you know, not for academics, these boring things with footnotes, and my friends will not read them, for example. Of course, they're very important, because then you can reconstruct history on these things. But here I'm trying to do it in a more narrative form. The notes are just to show you from where I got it, but without explaining anything there, it's all in the text. And I was helped by another thing. In 2005, the Turkish government translated all these manuscripts that are registers, which are the minutes of the government, the Sultan's Divan, into modern Turkish. Because these are written in Arabic. Turkish language written in Arabic script. So there are only about 80 people in the world who can actually read these documents. So what they did was they translated them into modern Turkish. And they're on PDF. So they sent me the PDF, and all I have to do was write MALT, search, and I got many new, excerpts from the text concerning Malta, which I had not seen before. And today we also have Google Translate. So what would I do? First I would write Malta, and I would get all these different things. Then I would paste them, put them into Google Translate, and more or less get an approximate idea of what they are talking about. Okay, then I got 600 euros from the university to get them translated. But I knew what was happening, and it's exciting things, because the scope of this book is to show that Suleyman was a normal person. I had to worry about millions of other things during the siege, which he had to take care of, whether he liked it or not. So, for example, we find out from these things the real motivation. Why did Suleyman attack Malta? Why did he want to take Malta? Because, and it's written in his command, of 6th October 1564, that's when he decides to send an armada to Malta. So that's 6 months before it actually happened. Okay? Because the infidels, we were the Knights of Malta, were interrupting the commerce and the passage of merchants and pilgrims from North Africa, from Maghreb, to the east and to Mecca. Remember that each Muslim, ideally, should go once in their lives to Mecca. And it's exactly what happened in the Second World War. All the Mediterranean, keep in mind, was all in the hands not of the Axis, not of Italy and Germany, as in the Second World War, but of the Ottomans. Apart from Italy, Greece, Albania, all of it. North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt. But the Maltese were going out and plundering their boats, their ships, the same thing that happened in the Second World War with Rommel's supplies coming down, half of them were being destroyed. And this was a problem. So it's an economic problem, it's a political problem. But there was also the pride question. Suleyman was the owner of the world. He was the king of the Mediterranean. And how dare these imbeciles come and plunder my ships and boats? And the final straw happened when Romegas took La Gran Sultana, one of the galley which belonged to the Sultan, which had on it the wet nurse of Suleyman's daughter. Badia, no? The wet nurse. She was very old, già severe, and Suleyman's daughter was Hurrem Sultana. She forced him to, she said, you have to pay them back. Before that, this was 1564. Okay? Before that, already Hurrem's favorite concubine, Suleyman's favorite concubine, whom he then married, he had many concubines. But he only married one, Roxelana. I don't know whether you've heard of her. Roxelana, she was from Ukraine, from Poland today. Roxelana because she was red-haired. Rossa, Roxelana. This was a very beautiful woman, etc. Anyway, when Roxelana died in 1558, from this documentation and from Balbi, she left in her will money for the Turks, the Ottomans, to attack and destroy Malta. The thing against Malta, because of the knights who were plundering, etc., and stopping the commerce, was so high. So I can imagine Suleyman, this is his wife. What are you doing? Nothing, you shameful man. You don't have the courage to go and attack these people. Come on. So for 5, 6, 7 years, at the end, he did it. And so we have, I'm trying to find little things. So he starts preparing in October, his decision, and he starts sending out commands all over the empire, ordering all the governors, the Beys, or the Qadis and the Qaids of all the areas in Europe, in Rumeli, and in Asia, in Anatolia, okay, up to Russia, Crimea, etc. It was a big empire, Hungary, etc. To prepare troops, to send troops to Malta, but not only troops. They need to have gunpowder. So you order 3,000 amtar of black gunpowder. Cannonballs, ordering 14 and 16 u'iyya. 14 and 16, I don't know what an u'iyya, how much that would be. The weight of cannonballs to be taken on board ships and so on. And then there would be the mustering points. They left Istanbul on the 29th of March of 1565. It took nearly 2 months to come to Malta. And it had to be done in spring. The attack had to be in spring. They left on the 8th of September, not because of, apart from other things, because before the bad weather comes in, because it would take another 2 months to get to Istanbul. And if they stayed longer, going in December on the high seas, such a long journey, we are talking about now over 200 galleys. We are talking about around 40,000 people, but not all left from Istanbul. They were joined on the way. We had the Bay of Rhodes with 14 galleys coming down, Bay of Thessaloniki, Selanik, coming down on the coast and joining up in Mytilene, all the way across the Mediterranean, etc. He also got people from Istanbul. So in January, for example, 1565, he sends out his messengers into the markets of Istanbul, you know, to enroll all the young lads who wanted to join. They had to be not slaves, okay? This is the bando, no? Which they used to, the messenger would go in the streets enrolling people. Young people, not part of the army already, but not slaves. And they were promised booty, whatever they took, they could keep. And also, timars, they would be given rewarded lands, the rendita of the lands, you know, the income of lands, for whatever brave things they did. So he did that too. We have the political decision at Malta was so important strategically. In March itself, at the beginning of March, before the Armada actually leaves to come to Malta, the Khan of Crimea is a really important place, right? Today, I mean, look at Putin and Ukraine fighting over Crimea, the sport with onto the seas. Well, this Count of Crimea writes to Suleyman and tells him, look here, Sultan, we are being attacked by the Russians. Please send us reinforcements. We cannot resist. And Suleyman answers, and you know what he says? He says, I'm sorry, I have an uprising in Hungary, and I have to take care of that. And I have decided to send a big expedition to Malta. Those are my priorities. See what you can do. So Suleyman deliberately decided strategically to prefer Malta was more important than Crimea. He was prepared to risk losing Crimea in order to take Malta. Today, I don't think Putin would risk losing Crimea to take Malta. No, things have changed. Of course, we have missiles and whatnot. But so the damage in the 16th century that was being caused to the Ottoman Empire, commercially mainly, at the end we're always there, apart from the pride, apart from the political business, it's the economy, stupid, no? At the end, so many boats and merchandise were being destroyed through the ships and water that this became a priority. So this is, let's say, a bit what happened before. The journey. When was the journey? I can't talk this. How did the journey? Of course, he was also sending out orders saying that I have nominated Mustafa Pasha as the chief commander, you should all obey him, and I have appointed next to him Biali Pasha as the admiral of the fleet. And our luck was that these two did not get on well together. It was a big jealousy. Biali Pasha, the admiral, was extremely jealous of Mustafa, that he had not been given the command. Mustafa was married to a relative of Suleyman, so nepotism did not exist only today in Malta. It existed also in old times. Okay? Persons of trust, we call them today, no? I mean, at that time they used to call them something else, I don't know what. Anyway, and this saved us. This saved us because when they attacked St. Elmo, Mustafa, rightly so, did not want to attack St. Elmo. Mustafa wanted to go to the heart of the whole issue, which is Bilbo, which is St. Angelo. But Mustafa, who had put in his fleet in Marsanchet Harbour, Valletta, did not want to expose his fleet to go, get out of Marsanchet Harbour and go into the other part, into Grand Harbour. And he said, no, I don't care, I'm not leaving. My troops are 40,000 troops. No, I'm not going to use them. My ships are going to stay out. Yeah. So, Mustafa Pasha was forced to, also by Biali's jealousy, to attack St. Elmo, which he thought that they would take in 5-6 days, because it was badly manned and whatnot. In fact, when Dragut came, Dragut, again, not many people know, Dragut was the governor of where? I am going to ask you a question now. Of Tripoli, Trablus. So, remember, we did get 25,000 from leaving Istanbul and coming all the way. And then we got around 10,000-15,000 coming from Algeria. Hassan Pasha, 30 ships. Privateers, corsairs coming from Algeria. They were supposed to control the sea, not to prevent help coming from Sicily, okay, from Messina, etc., which they did. We had Jerba. From Jerba we got the food. While they were in Malta, they had to eat. And they have little or whatever, duty free. So you would see the commands leaving, Suleyman sending commands, and Mustafa to Jerba, to Trablus, to Tripoli, asking for so much gunpowder, asking for so many cannonballs, asking for oil, asking for fruit, okay? And especially the staple food, which was the bigsmet. What was bigsmet? They used to bake them in Athens on the way, in Coron on the way, bake them for the return journey. They were even preparing the food, stored in the various places in Greece on the coast, for the return journey. What is bigsmet?
Galletti.
Galletti, our galletti, because on the sea you need dry food, okay, which can resist and stay there for a time. Spinning, okay, you survive on that. So you get all these orders going from one place to the other. As I said, so they left on the 29th, we still haven't left, because even before they left, Suleyman had to think about the problems. For example, two brothers from Algeria who were the governors of an area of Algeria bordering Morocco, write to Suleyman, telling him, look, our other brother, the third brother, who was the king of Morocco, is bothering us. He's trying to take out this fight between brothers, not about the house which they inherited from their parents. Normally that's the big fight amongst brothers, no? That's why we have so many empty houses in Malta. The fight lasts for 25, 50 years. Okay. And they write to Suleyman. And Suleyman says, okay, I can see your problem. You can feel that he is siding with the brothers in Algeria and not with this despot, the other brother in Morocco. And he tells them, yes, but he says, I am now attacking Malta. So the first priority is Malta. But I promise you that once we take Malta, I will send Hassan Pasha, the Algerian governor, who was coming to Malta to fight, to look at things. And in fact, on the same day, he sends a letter, an order, a command, a firman in Turkish. Firman were commands. Okay? He sends this to Hassan Pasha, who is on his way to Malta, and tells him, when you have finished in Malta, taken Malta within the few days which they thought they would take to get St. Elmo, please then go to Morocco to settle this affair, see what's going on and whatever. So he has to think of this, but he has to think of Crimea, what's happening. He has to think of Morocco. It's Malta, it's a problem out there, and then his empire was all over the world. So he had a lot of problems to take care of. Anyway, getting back to Piati Mustafa, and as I said, and again to Turgut Rais, with Dragut. Dragut was extremely pissed off when he arrived in Malta and he found that these idiots had attacked St. Elmo. And he thought, why didn't you wait for me? Because Suleyman had written also to Dragut various times before the siege, not only telling him go and help in Malta, but telling him, you are an old, experienced guy, you know, and you know Malta very well. And we need your counseling on what is the best way to attack Malta. So they were supposed to, about strategy. So active aging it was, because Dragut was over 80 years old, but he was not thrown away, as sometimes, you know, happens in life, in our life. Once you get older and you have less power, bit by bit, you become redundant, you know. No, Suleyman was a wise guy. He was a wise man. He would not throw away this capital which he had. So when Dragut arrived, and they didn't wait for him, and they had already started the attack on St. Elmo, he was angry. Because he thought strategically this is suicide. And he was proven right. Because instead of lasting a few days, it lasted nearly a month. From the 25th of May till the 23rd of June. And they lost 6,000-7,000 people, which was not planned. And they delayed it. They had to finish, remember, the thing before the bad weather starts in autumn. So, when you plan a week, and instead you end up spending a month, you've lost a lot of time. We're already on the 23rd of June, and Dragut loses his life. It's ironic how Dragut, who was the person who was wisest, lost his life in Malta with this splinter cannonball, which we don't know exactly the various theories, whether it was a shrapnel, whatever, shot by the Knights, or whether it was their own Turkish which imploded rather than exploded, and killed the people around. And he spent about 5 days before dying. Ironically, the same way Suleyman died exactly 1 year after, on the 8th of September. Suleyman, in the Battle of Szeged in Hungary, Suleyman was killed more or less in the same way, and through a splinter of cannonball. But in Szeged, like the film El Cid, like the El Cid mythology, they pretended to keep him alive, not to demoralize the troops. He would be seated for 4 days, they kept him, pretending that he was still alive, going in to serve him dinner, lunch, by the wind, in his tent, by standing, sitting there. I don't know how they propped him up, he was there, so that the troops could see him from outside. And they won Szeged too. And after they won it, they realized that the Sultan had already been dead. Anyway, so ironically, even Suleyman dies in the same way, exactly one year after his biggest defeat, on the 8th of September after David Morton. So thanks to Ghani and thanks to Mustafa, they delayed the attack and this caused these problems. What was the trick? For example, these documents which I found in Istanbul today give us a perfect picture of the whole journey. Okay, so they started, as I said, on the 29th of March, 1565, leaving with a prayer. Can you imagine these 150 or 120 galleys and everybody praying on the boats in one voice in the harbour of the Bosphorus? Then moving on to Yedikule. I don't know if you've been to Istanbul. There's the castle of Yedikule just outside. That was the first stop in the Dardanelles. Okay, then they went to Gelibolu, Gallipoli. We call it Gallipoli. There's Gelibolu, and stayed there for 4 days because there was an enormous storm. So they already wasted 4 days just waiting in Gallipoli for the storm to abate. And then bit by bit, we have sort of right into the Bay of Thessaloniki to bring over thousands of people, black gunpowder and cannonballs made of stone. The food I have already told you about. He sends orders to various people, the Qadis of Yeni Shehir, of Chatal, Kakir Shehir, Gazanfer, all these places. If you are curious, you can read the book. The big smith, as I told you, was the major thing. He sends orders from to Esdin, which today is Lamia in Greece, to Livadia, which is Livadia in Greece, to Agribots, which is Obia in Greece. And remember, all these areas, all the Balkans, all Bulgaria, all ex-Yugoslavia, Romania, Montenegro, Bosnia, Kosovo, all this was Ottoman Empire. So when we say the Turks, we were attacked by the Turks. This is another misnomer, one of the biggest misnomers we have in Maltese language. We have so many expressions, some of them not very nice at all, normally not very nice at all. The nicest one I can think of is Twilettorok, which means in Maltese, when it's raining and it's sunny, for us, a Turkish born. Why? And I have no idea why we have this expression. But normally, the Turks in our language do not feature in a very positive way. Of course, we have the names of a few politicians, so we can substitute the Toro with Cassola. No, it's hard. Anyway, but in reality, most of the people who attacked us were not Turks, but they were Bulgarians, they were Albanian, they were Greek, they were Tunisian, they were Moroccan, they were Algerian, they were Libyan. But even in our literature, if we look at our literature, it's always Torok, we fight against the Torok. But most of our attackers, 95% came from North Africa. They were all Arabs from the Maghreb, most of them. But they formed part of the Ottoman Empire, so for us, they are the Torok. So it goes down and then goes into the Peloponnese. Okay? They stopped in Sakits, which is the island of Chios, the Greek island of Chios. It was Turkish at the time, Sakits. To caulk, how would you say it in English? To grease the boats. Caulking, it is called caulking, right? Yes. So all the galleys, it took them a week. On the island of Chios, they caulked them. Alright, we told them I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't know how to say that. I don't know what it actually means. Anybody in the maritime thing? What is caulking?
Caulking, you fill up the gaps between planks.
Okay. Okay. With tar, isn't it? With tar?
No, traditionally it was caulk.
What is caulk?
Caulk.
Oh, caulk. With caulk.
Traditionally.
In Maltese, they make them with a rock.
With a rock?
There is a word for it. It's caulk, something like that.
Okay, anyway, so that's in C-A-U-L-K, caulking. So it took them a week to do all this. They would stop on the way, for example, on the Ramadan Bayram, which is the biggest feast in the Muslim world. Mustafa got his royal tent out on land, and they prayed for 2 days on land, so they would stop to, for the prayers and so on. This approach is Malta, Mistras, the Peloponnese. Orders by Suleyman, sending out orders that even the Christian prisoners were to be taken on board to fight against the Maltese on the siege. So slaves were enrolled as soldiers to fight together, and then probably they got their freedom. Some of them were converted. They are called Zimmi. We have a number of Zimmis who are converted Christians or converted Jews. These were fighting and dying in Malta. The Pecksmith we always know, that's a constant feature, food, oil, etc. We have internal squabbles. They have to worry. We are human beings, right? We are jealous. We want more than the other one. He got the promotion, I didn't. Blah, 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 blah. And you have to take care of these things, because if you're not there serenely fighting, you have problems. If your mind is somewhere else. So, for example, the brothers I told you of Morocco and whatever, he had other problems, serious diplomatic problems. While in Malta, during the siege, the people in Jerba attacked and took as prisoners merchant ships from France and merchant ships from Venezia. And they took all their things. But what was the big problem? And they can see how Suleyman was a gentleman. He's the Magnificent, also because despite that he could have been ruthless, but he was also a man of his word. Suleyman in 1536 had signed a neutrality treaty with King Charles of France, that there would be an act of non-belligerence. So when he got to know from the King of France, he thought, okay, we had a treaty 20 years ago. You cannot touch my people. A French ship coming from Marseille, full of merchants and goods. Suleyman writes immediately to Mustafa Pasha in Malta, and so these are not directly connected to the great siege of Malta, but it seemed interesting because he doesn't have to worry. I want to see what he was thinking, doing, etc. He writes to him and tells him, send somebody immediately to Genoa from Malta during the siege. And if it is really a French ship, you will free everybody, you will give them back all their things and send them back to France. And he had the same thing with Venice. Again, the people in Genoa attacked and plundered a ship, a galley from the Republic of Venice, but he had an agreement with the Doge of Venice. In fact, all these messages would pass through Venice. Most of the messages from Malta going to Istanbul and from Istanbul coming to Malta were relayed through the Doge of Venice. Venice kept it always a neutrality, kept neutral vis-à-vis the Ottomans. And you can, in a way, you can understand the pragmatism. They are on the Adriatic coast, very much near Istanbul, much near the Ottoman Empire, right? On the other side of the Adriatic coast, Albania, 60 kilometers away, Greece was Ottoman. So they had to try and keep peace of mind, and peace with the Ottomans. And so they had. So Suleyman has to worry about all these things, and he has to handle them and take care of them. So this we've seen Hassan Passat, Morocco, etc. Yes, they are arriving to Malta, we've seen also. And then we have the beginning of the siege. We arrive in Malta, 18th of May, they arrive, go down first thing in Marshall, that area, and immediately on the first thing, they already capture the knight de la Rivière, Chevalier de la Rivière. And the interesting thing, we already have this in Balbi de Correggio, they went, the knights sent a patrol, and there was a skirmish, and they killed people, but they took this knight and then they tortured and killed them. De la Rivière, and we know the name of the person who actually killed them, because in the register asking for money, promotions and rewards, on the same day, we have Mustafa bin, I forgot his name, son of I don't know whom, is asking for promotions and for money, and eventually they say we give him promotion because Mustafa has captured an infidel on a horse in the Masashok area. So you have also started putting names now to people who we knew through Balbi already, we don't know who they were. So even these micro details, are very important. I mean, another Turkish scholar has done a whole study on the number of people from Anatolia who were fighting in Malta. Of course, it doesn't interest me. I look for Maltese stuff. No? And most of us would because we live here. And it's the things that influence us most. So daily lives. But somebody, a Turkish scholar, who is coming from the region of Antalya, it's not Anatolia, Antalya, came out, the whole list where they came from, etc., through the Maltese register, and showed that there were so many people coming from Antalya who were working in Malta. Of course, these are all the castles. I also have, sorry, I forgot this. My technology is not so, we can stop it. Yeah, so here we have Suleyman, of course. That is a bit, that's from a painting by Tiziano. But the person who retouched it is a bit, I think that's a friend of mine who did a cut for me. I must thank her. If you look at Tiziano, I think it's slightly better than the original. So here is Suleyman's Istanbul, 16th century, by Melchior Law. It's already a big city. At that time, Constantinople, not Istanbul. Before that, Byzantium. We're always talking about the same town, the same city. Here we have again Istanbul detail of the ceilings. And here we have, well, this way here you can't see anything, basically. It's a sketch of Suleyman by Dürer. We have the Dürers we have many Dürers etchings in the Church Cathedral Museum in Malta, Medina. That's one, and that's again Suleyman as a young man. That's to be found in the Topkapi Museum. And these are the two women who influenced him a lot to attack Malta. Mirima Sultan, his daughter, his favorite daughter, and she's the one who said, "Come on, you coward! They've taken my great, no, what's her name? My Balia, how do I go back? Right. They've taken my wet nurse, and you do nothing about it." And so, at the end, he resisted, but and the other one is Roxolana, Hurrem Sultana, the Ukrainian, the Russian, the Polish, Ukrainian, it's on the border today, I think it's Poland, who was known as Hurrem Sultana in the Turkish name, but for us Europeans, she was Rosa Suleyman, Roxolana, between Rushana, even more people, redhead, okay? Where am I going back? And these are cannons of the Suleyman period. My photographs that we found in Istanbul Military Museum. So, for example, this cannon, there is all the dates, and also on the cannon there's all written that it was founded in the foundry by Iskender, purposely for Suleyman. Okay? All these. This is founded by Hayreddin in 938 Hijri. 938 Hijri. So in Malta, the attack in Malta was 974. So 1565 corresponds to 974 in the Muslim calendar. Okay, because the Muslim calendar runs from the date of birth of Muhammad, or when Muhammad went to Mecca. Okay, so that's 600 years later. That's another one by Ireland, always for Suleyman. Another cannon, these are all Istanbul Military Museum. And then these are various other armaments, but of the period, right? So these were armaments which were more or less used in Malta. More or less. The light is not so, it's too much light, I think. This is a decorative sword and sabers. This one was belonged to Suleyman, this sword. Huh? Of course, Suleyman did not come to Malta, so he never used that sword. But, and these were the types of swords that they had. Sharp sabers of the period, more or less. And these was what they were wearing. Chainmail, yeah. And weapons, type of weapons, the archers, the sipahi, the cavalry, there were the janissaries, obviously. Janissaries, you know. The janissaries, etc. The yeni seri. Yeni means young. Okay? We call them janissaries. But who are these yeni seri? Famous janissaries, no? You know them, no? And also there were the assassins, what we call an assassin. It's a Turkish word. They were a type of troop. They were the most ferocious and the most faithful to the Sultan. You know who they were? These the young ones, the Yeniseri?
Christians.
They were all Christians. They were all Christian babies taken away from the Balkans mainly. Okay, from Bulgaria, from Kosovo, from Albania, from whatever, Yugoslavia, taken to the court in Istanbul, raised with no family, so the Sultan could trust them because they couldn't have a plot against him. He would not trust his brothers or his cousins or his families, but they would trust these children who became faithful totally because they owed their lives to him, basically. And they were the most ferocious, courageous. No? You know also why. You know why. They were also very courageous and not fearing anything. And hashish. Huh? They were on dope. I don't know what we can say. So they used to be very high. And of course, you're not scared of dying when you don't know what's happening. You're so stoned. Then they would just go. But if you read Padre Correggio, at the end, 7th September, 8th September, these were always on the front line, ready to go up the stairs into the bed and get the old burning going onto them, not thinking about it. I mean, just thinking of burning my finger, it makes me scared. At least we're not worried. But at the end, there was a sort of little rebellion. They were singing the defeat and they didn't want to go and fight. You can consider it in Padre Correggio's thing. Anyway, so the Yenisei, the Janissaries, breastplates, helmets. This is Pieri Pasha, the admiral, as I told you, the jealous guy, who was jealous of Mustafa. This is Algiers, from where Hassan Pasha came with 30 galleys and brought with him also a number of privateers, corsairs, pirates, who were guarding the sea to prevent any head coming to water. And now we start having some of the soldiers. The Jahush Bashi, okay? The Levant, which was another regiment. The Beyler Bey from Vacherio. Beyler Bey is governor of a province, okay, of a Subashi, a Sipahi, an archer, a Sipahi on cavalry, okay, Sipahi, which you remember. Keep in mind, another thing, Malta was full of Sipahis. You can see it. You know? When they're saying he was a Sipahi and so on regiments whatsoever, what the number was on, and so on and so on. These people had to bring horses on the boats. Can you imagine travelling and bringing horses on those ships? 50 days. I mean, I would vomit in 50 days of some bad weather. How are you going to handle those horses, feed them, clean them on a boat? They did it. So these are all logistic things. You know, we talk about the Great Siege and all this. What was behind it? It was enormous for such a big. And now we know it's a big thing. Because there were some historians that no, this was just a glorified raid. You know, the siege of Malta. No, it was not a glorified raid because we have the numbers. 30 galleys from here, 20 from here, 100 from here, 100. No, we know it. These are different types of boats which were used in Malta. The Cagliata and the Cadirga. This is the Khan of Crimea, the only thing I could find about him. This guy who is begging Suleyman to send him reinforcements, okay? But he didn't. This is Suleyman. This is the same. This is the real thing, the cover. In Taishin, here on this side you have France's Charles II of France. This is when they signed the treaty of non-belligerence. And Tiziano painted the meeting between the two leaders. This is the Atze, the coin with which they were paid, and all the time asking for money and promotions, etc. This is the Dalavel castle from where they left, in Istanbul. Again, the straits where they started coming down. And these are the various fortresses which you can see coming down to Malta. The Mesistre, the island of Pasha, which is Elafonisos in Greece today. Okay, beautiful, without Captain Morgan, or much nicer, much nicer. Coroni, Navarino, Anavarin. These are all the fortresses of the Suleyman period, which still exist today. In ruins or less ruins, but look at them. These were all stops. All places were on their way to Malta, they stopped to have a break. By Patras. Patras in Greece. Okay? That's another way they talk. This is Patra again. Patras. These are the remains today, obviously. This is the glory of internet. The good thing that you can find all these things and without copyright, so you don't have to pay anything. All these are from Wikipedia and whatnot. So some of them I have to ask, like me, and they tell me it's okay, no problem. And this is Dragut, our famous Dragut. These are his monuments in Topkapi and the Naval Museum of Mersin, not of Istanbul. Dragut's death, that looks still very much before they build on it, like the rocks in Slima, right? Teeny point, without all the towers. He died, you know that Dragut. Have you been to Teeny, in Slima? You don't know Teeny? You know, Midi, you know, that is where Dragut died. I think if he came today, he would die just looking at it. Without any of... and this is the original, see, Francis I, and Suleyman signed the lions. The Doge of Venice with whom he had, which is by Tintoretto, famous Renaissance painters, and that is, he had this agreement with Venice. This is Ucciali Pasha, all right? Ulucali Pasha. He was from Calabria. In fact, he has a bust even in La Castella, Crotone, where he was born. And he was one of the most famous coursers who turned Muslim and became very trusted by Suleyman. But he was a Calabrese. He was a Christian. Ucciali, Occhiali, Ulucali, and he had another Rucciali in Turkish, and then he becomes the other thing. And then these are the soldiers, the Azam. These are all Azabs. Then you have a cook and the emissaries, okay? There is please. The Mehter Takini. Okay, I have of course millions of other things to say, but I think I've said enough of it. I'll just comment on the photo. What is the Mehter Takini? It's the band, the military band. They brought the band to Malta. With banda, all right, biscotti. Why? Because they wanted to dance? No, because when they attacked, they wanted to create fear. And fear, so they have brass instruments and boom, boom. So can you imagine? You're inside the walls, and these are coming boom, boom, and making a real ding. It's just a psychological warfare. They will scare. And this is the Mehter Takini, the band, the musicians. They had winged musicians for sure, because he asked for a promotion. They have a drummer, a bongo, whatever he was, so they had it because we have them asking for money, promotions, etc. Okay? Another thing, we have the surgeons. They had a squadron of surgeons. They got doctors with them. Many of them of the century, that's another issue, which caused big problems in Malta. They had a dysentery. They were going to do quite a lot. So they also had to think of all these logistics. So this is the only photo that exists. It's 18th century, the band. And this is actually nice. This is a map. So what this I can tell you. Tell me how much time I have. It's 11? When you're there? Okay. But this I must tell you. Mustafa al-Ghali did not send any news for 2.5 months to Suleyman. And you see these letters by Suleyman saying, what the heck are you doing? I don't know anything. Have you arrived in Malta? I have sent away ships for provisions. What are you doing? Well, and these don't say anything. They kept him there not knowing. It took 20 days to get a message there. What did they do? They waited for the fall of St. Helmo. They didn't want to send him news that they had taken anything yet. So they only write to him on the 23rd of June. And it arrived on the 15th of July in Istanbul. So he got to know the first news March, April, May, June, 4 months after they left. Because they wouldn't tell him anything. But then they did in style. This is a sheep's. This is a sheepskin parchment on which you have a design of the whole of Grand Harbour with all the places very near where they have taken the Turkish flag. This is to be found in Topkapi, okay, which was discovered recently. And you have all the troops, the numbers of, you can see them all painted in one goes, you can get an idea. And they sent him this to show him what they had conquered. St. Elmo has got the flags of the Turks on it, the Ottoman flag on it, okay? And then Suleyman finally writes and says, finally I see that you have done that right. But he still, means of communication were not easy. But you can also see the fear of not being successful, okay, for these people. But when eventually they want something, they did it in style. Not only did they send a messenger, the messenger, his name was Abdi, you know, Abdi Charush. They had about 6 messengers who would go and come from Malta to Istanbul and back via Venezia. And the guy who took this to Suleyman was Abdi. Charush means messenger in Turkish. Abdi Charush. Okay, these are other Solak, we have Il-Ḥaġar, and now this is the return. On the return, they start going back to Jerba, they pass by Jerba. No, the Jerba is where they come from, Modon in Greece, in Ebahli, which means Lepanto, on the way back, okay, collecting food. This is again Lepanto, the fortress, 350, Midilli, again the island of Midilli, which is Mytilene, the Greek Mytilene today, right? Mytilene. And this is his kind of thing, his Tura. The G is like an I, okay? This G in modern Turkish, it's like the Maltese I, you don't pronounce it. Tura. I've given that in Turkish, you know. So it's our eyes, okay, basically. And the Tura was the signature, the seal, but which was a very refined miniature signature, etc. And every sultan had his own. And this is Suleyman. To finish off, they went on the way back to Baghdad. He was a generous man. He gave pay rises, you can see, to the squadron of the Wanakse, even though they lost. So he wasn't that nasty that he chopped off all the heads of people. Even though you have the regiment here getting so much, the regiment here getting so much, as we go further on, etc. And we also see that while they were away, there were abuses being done in the places they had left, which were left without soldiers because they came to Malta, including murders. One murder, for example, and they can see Suleyman the justice man punishing after corruption, governors taking money, 10%, we know it, 10%. And punishing all these people, etc. This is all, well, it's all in the book, and these are all from the documentation related to it. Thank you for your attention. I hope I have bored you. For having invited me to do this. If anybody wants a book, it's called Stenaxe.
We have time for a few questions. We have a few questions, Karen.
What was the nationality? Where did he come from? You mentioned that the troops came from all over the Mediterranean. Where did Suleyman come from?
To be honest, I never thought about it. I'm sure if we go into Google, it will be easy. This is such a famous book. It's not my book. It's not my book. Didn't even come to me.
Must have been the Ottomans.
They were a family, obviously.
The Ottomans were not the original. They had succeeded the Seljuks. So they had come from the east.
But I think they were already settled. Suleyman's father was already the Sultan. So I mean, he was born for Sultan. Islam. But I think it has to be checked. I'll check it.
Stefan.
During the research conducted in Istanbul, did you find any research about the 1551 attack about those?
As I said, I went on with that idea of hoping to find some paper written in Maltese. I said, this that I wrote, so you don't have for the Maltese language being no, there is nothing of the sort. But again, I told you there is very little of this period because most of the materials were destroyed because they had burned the archives, etc. So what you will find is only official stuff, and one could try and see, but I don't know if there are any, the Muhimme Defteri. So the Muhimme Defteri are these registers with the decisions in minuti, basically, of the divan. one could ask, they, as I said, they are now all on PDF, for the minutes, if they exist, the Muhammad Defteri, we can look them up, of 1551, 1550, to see if there is any reference about it. Remember, however, that this was not the big armada sent from Istanbul. This was a local attack coming from Libya. So I don't know if this decision was taken in Istanbul, or if it was, what's his name, who took the decision himself.
We have a talk about 1551 lined up for the near future. Any further questions? Yes, gentlemen.
A couple of times you mentioned that the messengers would pass through Venice, which seems to me a way longer path than not a direct path to Istanbul. Do you know why?
Because Venice was neutral between the Knights of Malta and the Ottomans. So you have actually the messages written and saying to the Doge to be given to Malta. So, of course, from Istanbul, it's not just a direct, that it could have direct line coming through. But they had to stop on the way and so on. They had to pass through protected land. And Venice was offering protection in the Adriatic. Ragusa, which means Dubrovnik, that was all under Venice. And so they passed through, and then obviously Venice had connection to the Knights. But not other parts. So that is
So the second part or the first part of the journey was by land?
No, I see. No, the messenger would go through. The messages would pass through Venice. The message, which means the messenger had to go to Venice, the Adriatic, and up to Venice. Right? And then from Venice, it would come to Malta. But the trip to Malta, to attack Malta, did not pass through Venice. It was all the coast, the Greek, Albanian coast. You can see step by step, day by day, where they stopped, where they whatever. And the last stop was Navarino, the castle of Navarin, and then it took 10 days from Navarino to Malta without a stop. That was the last stop.
Are there any more questions? If not, I invite Joe Walsh of the Fondazione Bel Vittoria to make a farewell.
There are only 3 books there.